Restoration Today podcast. Today, I am very excited to introduce one of the winners of the first ever Unsung Hero Award. I am joined today by Tyler Wright, who is now a project manager with ATI's office in Washington State. But she was actually nominated in the Office Hero of the Year category, which is where she won because she was a project coordinator before moving into her current PM role. She's worked a number of roles at ATI in the time that she's been there and really moved her way up. So I'm really excited to share Tyler's story and have her talk about how she's been able to grow and find a career in restoration, find some balance between having a life outside of work and inside of work, climb the ladder, all those things. So Tyler, congratulations. You are certainly worthy. I loved reading the nomination from Lori and Carissa. They sang your praises. So congratulations. I'm going to start by tossing it over to you and just have you kind of introduce yourself and share how long you've been in restoration and with ATI.
Okay. Well, I'm Tyler, and I've been in the restoration industry for about 5 years now, with ATI for 5 years. I started from the front desk admin and worked my way into every admin position available. And now I have been working as a PM, and I was working dual positions for a little while there, but working as a PM now. So super exciting.
How did that work doing dual positions? That had to have been a lot trying to juggle.
Yeah, it was very stressful for a while. Like towards the end, I was just like so stressed out, but like right when we hired somebody for my old position, like I just felt the weight lifted. I was like, okay, now I can focus on these jobs, and it's really hard trying to work on both of them and figure out what you need to do, what's high priority and all that stuff.
Were you in construction or restoration before joining ATI, or was this whole world new to you?
So my first job was actually in construction. So we would build Habitat for Humanity homes.
Okay.
So that was like when I was 16. And then since then, yeah, this is my first time being in the restoration construction field.
Okay. When you hired into ATI, did you know that there was a career path? Is that something that you talked about, or did you kind of come in thinking, all right, well, this is going to be kind of an administrative role? It sounds like you've worked almost every admin role that you possibly can as you've worked your way up. But did you anticipate growing in ATI, or did you think, okay, this is just a stop and it's a job that I need for now?
So when I first started, yeah, it was kind of more like, yeah, this is going to be I'm going to get in here because I had graduated and got my associate's degree. Okay. And so I wanted to like utilize my degree because I know most people don't. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into something and actually utilize my degree. So I was like, this will be a good stepping stone outside of, I was working in a bakery and stuff.
Okay.
And then
from construction.
Yeah. But like construction always been like my like passion. Like I love seeing the transformation of homes after you remodel them or anything you do to them, just seeing the transformation to them. But like once I started working here, then I started seeing like, okay, this could be like my forever thing. Like I like the industry. I like being able to help families, even though they don't feel like we're helping them sometimes always, but we are, getting their life back together and stuff like that. So it grew into it.
Okay. So if you could pick, I'm curious what you're going to say. There are 2 words that Lori and Carissa described you as. So if you could describe yourself in 2 words, what would they be as a worker? And this is a chance to like brag about yourself and who you are, maybe. But if you could sum yourself up in 2 words, what would it be?
I don't know. I'm a very fast learner. I'm like very hands-on. I'm very willing to like learn new things and help people out. Like, so I never tell anybody, no, I can't help you if it's something that I don't know, just so that way I can learn how to do it. And then I'll utilize that, later on and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very quick learner. So like you show me one thing and I get it. And yeah, I'm always willing to help. So I don't know what the word they said.
Well, what you just said describes the 2 words that they said. They said grit and tenacity described Tyler in the most positive way. She has worked through and mastered every administrative position that we have. So that's what they said about you. And I feel like grit and tenacity, even in our emails back and forth and the texts that we've had, I feel like that totally shows true. So what do you love so far about being in the project manager role? What do you love about that aspect?
I love being able to see something through. So like when I start something, I like to be able to see it finish, and being able to meet with the homeowners, and they're like super happy that things are going and it's getting done, because insurance work sometimes it just drags on and they just
Yeah.
get so frustrated. But then when I come in, it's kind of like, okay, now we're getting things going, and then they're happy again.
Right.
So that's kind of like where I like it. But I like being able to, I'm like very organized, and I like to be able to, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. And I like set a goal for myself. So I'm like trying to beat that goal, but I'm getting there. So I've been in the position for a couple months now, and I think I've already closed like almost close to 10 jobs, which is not
That's
too bad
awesome.
for a new project manager. So I'm just keep like knocking little mini goals off.
So I know in either in the nomination, or you and I have, I think in the nomination, they were talking about how there are some things that you have done that have turned into processes for all ATI offices that I think you did when you're in the coordinator role. So kind of talk about that and your passion for creating processes and an actual way to step through things.
So like when I see something that needs help, I like to figure out like what would be the best way to fix the solution, or have a solution for it. I mean, but so like there's this one, we have a national team, and the national team, there's like a certain protocol that we have to follow in order to like properly communicate with them, and make sure we hit all our bullet points. So I actually like created a spreadsheet so everybody can go in, and it's a live document, so everybody can go in and do their updates and make sure all those bullet points are hit. So I started that spreadsheet here, and it ended up going across the country to all of the Essex properties. So that was like kind of cool to see that happen. And then another thing was like me and my other colleague Rachel created a training program, like a training PowerPoint for all of our new restoration techs, and all of our restoration techs, so that way they knew exactly what they needed to do and how to do it. So we actually created that PowerPoint, and that started our headquarters creating a PowerPoint that was very similar
Okay.
for all of their offices as well. So that was kind of cool to see that happen too.
That is really cool. So do you feel like, ATI is a really big company. So I think that, do you feel like there is cohesiveness between all of the different branches where you all are kind of learning from each other and growing together?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They like to try and keep everybody as like one as possible. And even though it's a big company, it's a very family oriented company. So like it's pretty cool working here to be able to see that dynamic between offices. So
Okay, so on the family related side, how do you personally find a balance between working really hard? I mean, clearly, if you're the type of person that doesn't say no and are always taking on new projects and helping other people, how do you find a balance between working in a 24/7 industry and business where that it doesn't stop and having a life somehow?
So I like to set many goals for myself every day. So I'm like very, but I like to set many goals for myself every day. So like, this is what I'm going to do. Sometimes I have to write it out. Sometimes I don't. I just know what I'm going to do. But and once those are done, then I just shut it down and leave it for the day. So like yesterday I did work probably until like 8. But I was with my family, and we were all still together, so that was kind of nice to be able to do that. But yeah, so once I complete all my goals, yesterday I didn't complete all my goals, so that's why I was working kind of late. But normally I try and knock it out before at least 5 or 6. But
Sure. Yep, I
yeah.
get it. So as somebody else, I personally don't say no either, typically. So has that ever gotten you into trouble, or do you feel like for the most part it is rewarding and it does true, obviously it drives you to learn new things and everything, but has it ever gotten you into trouble, or you feel like, no, I'm living by that, we're good with not saying no?
I don't think so. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Although I did help this one time when we had all the fires in Oregon. So we had to like break everything down by like travel time and staying time and drive time. And we probably had well over 100 jobs down there just dropping equipment. So it's just like, an hour each job, but I had to like break it down. That kind of was time consuming, and it was rough. But it actually worked out really well for the project director because they just looked at my spreadsheet and were able to bill every single job. So, it worked out for them, but it was a little stressful for me.
Well, it was helpful to them and it's helped you grow, I'm sure. So I guess that's a win. What
Right.
advice would you give other people maybe in a project coordinator role to really excel in that role? What does it really take to be a really good project coordinator?
I think just like I said, always willing to learn and then seeing where there's, hiccups going on, or if there's something where you're just like, I feel like that can be better. Never always try and do it. It might not work the way you wanted it to, but at least you tried, and always try new things. As I always see it's like, okay, this isn't working for me. So I always try something new, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but at least I tried.
Okay. And what advice would you give other people that are maybe in a position like you've been and looking to grow and get to the next step? Like, have you always been offered these positions, or have you pursued them when you know something is going to open up? What does that look like?
So I pretty much pursued them every time they opened up because I figured, okay, I started from the front desk and then I went to program. So I did all the insurance work, and then I went to the restoration coordinator and then the construction coordinator. But I figured, the more knowledge that I have, knowledge is power. And if I have that under my belt, then, that can lead me in two different directions, either construction or restoration.
Yep.
And then at least I have that knowledge of it before going into that position.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Okay. So now what? So now you're a PM and you've been moving up the last 5 years. So now what? What's your plan now?
I'm gonna settle here for another year, and then I'll start working for the PD role,
Okay.
the project director role.
Okay. Within ATI, within ATI, what does a project director do? Are they overseeing PMs?
Yeah. So, well, they write the estimates. They do the estimating. So, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, Tyler, congratulations. I am super excited for you and you are very deserving. I will share with you the nomination form so you can read it if they haven't shared it with you yet. Anything else that you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's all.
Perfect.
I'm good.
All right. Well, congratulations again.